Okay, so now that we have our illustration set, we are going to add the month, we're going to add the days of the week, and we're going to add the numbers for the week. Okay, so the text tool is located here on the left-hand side. It looks like a T. I'm going to select that. And notice I'm like, okay, what's happening? There's something on the screen. I'm going to tap the screen, and you see that the text layer information all comes up here on the right-hand side. So, and then right below where the text shows up, we see that keyboard. So I'm going to select the keyboard, and I'm going to type September. Now, I want to double tap to select my font. Right now it's really small, so there's a couple things I can do. I can click and drag from the corner. Sorry, I would do it this way to make it a little bit larger so I can see what I'm working with here. Now I'm going to double click to select my type. So once I'm selected on that type layer, again, I'm going to come over to get the layer options, and I'm going to go through and decide on a font that I like. So if I select underneath where it says text and says Source Sans Pro, they're the font names that we have. And I can go through and look at all the fonts that are loaded. Then I can come and select more fonts. What's really nice about this is there's thousands of different fonts. So I can choose by these tags. So if I go into inline, it gives me all the different fonts options that I have that are lined. So I have one that I like that I've used before, and it saved it up here in my recents. It's this Tamaric. Okay, so I'm going to select that, and I'm going to go back. In your layer options here, you have the way that the text is. I have whether it's on display. I can change the size. There's a couple of different ways I can change my font size. I can type in 67. I can use the slider and make my font bigger and smaller. So I'm going to center it, and we're going to see what size I like. I think that works pretty well. Okay, so now if I want to change the font color, I'm going to select the black here on the left-hand side, and I'm going to have all these different options for the color wheel, the sliders, and then here at the bottom you can see where it says all in recent. So this was going to be really nice. If I decide that I want to choose a color for the font and pull a color with the dropper from the top like I have with my color palette, I can select the dropper, I can come over and I can select the color, and here when we're on that color I can use the plus button and add it to my recents. So now it saves that color into my recents so that when I go back to my text tool and I double tap the text and select the black, I can change my color of my text. And now I have my text in a really nice font color, and I can move it around, I can change it up, whatever I'd like to do. All right, so now we're gonna move on to the days of the week. I'm gonna make a new layer for this. Come back over to that text tool, and I'm gonna tap into the area that I want. So we see that it comes up really large because it's gonna come up the default of what we just made our font right before that. So I'm gonna type in, I guess we'll start with Sunday. And we know that I want it to fit into this smaller area, so I'm gonna select it and I'm gonna make it smaller. Like I said, we can do that multiple ways. You can do it by the slider, or you can do it by holding it. You click and hold, and we're going to center it a little bit. And I can always come back and change it up as I go, take a step back, look at it, decide if I like it and how it looks. I am definitely going to change the color of the font to be different for my days of the week and my numbers versus my September, because I like it to stand out a little bit. And now as we're going through and we're creating our numbers, the one thing I really want to pay attention to as I create my numbers is where I want to put them. So it's up to you. We know that when we look at a calendar, that a lot of times the numbers are justified to one corner. So I could select whether I want to put it in the left-hand corner, whether I want it in the right-hand corner. I wouldn't do the bottom, although there are some calendars that do justify to the bottom. So it's really up to you where you decide that you want to make your calendar design. And then I'm going to show you how to fill in the rest. Okay, so you can see that I have a completed calendar now, but what I want to show you is the last few steps. Also give you a few tips on how to group things together to make it easier as you're moving things around. So if you decide that you come to this point and you want to be able to move things, but you don't want to have to move them all individually, what you can do is you can tap on a layer and select, and then choose select multiple, and I can select all of these days of the week. Now, what I can do here is the folder button that's located next to that. If I select that, it then groups everything, all of those layers into a folder, so that if I come over to my move tool, I would have all of them selected and I'd be able to move them all together. So now we are finished. I have all my days of the week. I have everything numbered. I have my September, my month is labeled. I'm going to select that layer where I have my template. Now you're going to have two choices here when you get to this point. I can either choose to lower the opacity of my template and I can keep it to sort of still box off where I want it. Now, if I were to do this, I would definitely make sure that I center my Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, my days of the week a little bit more than when I have it. I plan on taking my template off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the template and I'm going to make it unseen. I'm not going to delete it in case I do want to bring it back in at some point. I'm going to make it unseen. So now I have a nice, clear, crisp calendar design, and I'm going to save my design and I'm going to upload it.